everybody. Welcome to Slogan's Rock and Metal Extravaganza. We're back with our best song series, and today we're featuring none other than Michigan's Grand Funk Railroad. We got probably the biggest Grand Funk fan here, DC, to join us.
Thank you, fellas. Good to be here with you today.
And Logan from outside.
Yeah, look at Logan. He's taking in the great outdoors.
I'm in Flint.
You got to be outside to talk Grand Funk.
We had talked about doing the show shirtless, folks, but thankfully on your front, we decided
the
to
female crowd. I don't know.
Yeah, we're trying to draw in more ladies, so we thought, well,
I don't think Grand Funk was much of a ladies band, to be honest.
No, not really. Much more than if you go to a Rush show. You want to talk about a sausage fest. You'd be hard-pressed to find a lady anywhere near a Rush show. But I digress.
Oh, boy. So we're going to see how did you first get into Grand Funk, DC?
Well, it was a neighbor of mine, and he introduced me to quite a bit of music in my younger formative years. When I was a little kid, when the Beatles hit, I started playing guitar. My older neighbor knew I was a guitar player, knew I was into music, and he was a nice enough guy to feed me albums, say, hey, you got to listen to this. And really that first live Grand Funk Railroad album was one of the ones that he lent to young DC, and the rest is history. Greetings, bitches, both sexy and otherwise. Right on. That right there, Logan, is the infamous album that started me off with Grand Funk Railroad. And as we go through these albums, these first couple, my favorite songs are one thing, but that live album ruined the studio versions, because I heard the live album versions of so many of these songs that when I heard the studio version later on, it was like limp. It was like where's the energy, and the time signature and beat was slower on the studio version. So they don't hold the fire that the live album versions that I first heard do. So that taints a lot of these earlier tracks.
Yeah.
Limp funk. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, when you listen to Are You Ready, that opens up that live show, and then you listen to it on this album, it's like, please. That's a great tune. What a great song to open up your concerts with. But the studio version, I'm sorry, folks.
Oh man,
can't hold a candle to that live one.
Probably not, yeah.
Yeah.
It's still a great song.
I'll confess, I still have to go hear that live stuff. So
I'll
probably hear that.
The songs on this one and the Red album that are performed live, you won't need these studio versions. I never go to these songs.
No.
Yeah.
Don't
listen to what Grant Arthur says about the live album. Okay.
Yeah.
Why did he say it's bad? There's lots of jamming.
There's a lot. It is of its era. You've got a long ass drum solo that I can't listen to nowadays. My sensibilities have changed, but it's high energy and it is raw, and Grant's about production.
Yeah.
But this is just right off the soundboard, and it is raw and live and earthy and soulful and not polished. I mean, it doesn't hurt your ears I mean, it sounds as if you're sitting there watching the show. So no sweetening,
be, right?
What's that?
That's how a live album should be, really.
Yeah, there's no sweetening of the mix, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't messing around when
LEC says hippie dancing. Yeah,
they weren't messing around when they just called it live album, because that's all it is. It's not.
There it is,
studio
folks.
trickery or.
Yeah, we didn't go in there and take out the squeals and the squelches. This is how it happened.
Yeah.
Relive it. Or
100%.
live it because you weren't there.
Like me, yeah.
So Nagel or Noggle, how did you get into
I don't really know.
I
wish I could remember. I wish I could remember, to be honest with you guys. My relatives gave me these compilations that this is the live album. This is the second live album. Cognac. So that's probably one of the first ones. And I'll show these lovely album covers that I showed the guys
Oh boy. Sorry.
This one's called Heavy Hitters, and this one's the Capitol Collector series. So this one's kind of got like all their hits and stuff. This one's kind of got some deeper songs on it. Upsetter and Get It Together's on here, which kind of a strange track on a compilation. But yeah,
Agreed.
I mean, playing these two and the live album for sure probably made me a big fan.
Now, did you buy
we'll
those
get.
before?
Huh?
Did you actually go and buy those and have the red cash register the cashier look at you and say, "What is this kid buying?"
Well, no, actually, I got these from my relative, my cousin, I think, or my uncle. My uncle gave me these.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, these were the three. And then when I heard this, yeah, I was pretty much off and away with being a Grand Funk fan.
And they're a local band for you. Well, not local, they're same state, right? But
same state.
Yeah, as opposed to the image on the first album, that second album encapsulates what this band's truly all about much more than
I have a shirt. I have a shirt with this on it. I was gonna wear it, but I forgot.
Yeah, that's iconic.
And I seen the band live too, but I mean, obviously Farnerless. But Bruce Kulick was there. So
yeah. I saw them Farnerless too, and it's missing quite a bit of the mojo because I did see them with Farner, but not with Mel Shocker.
No.
The time where everything came together for me that we could have gone and seen Grand Funk, the original band, they played in Cleveland the same night as my junior prom. And so the junior prom won out because we said, we'll catch Funk the next time around. Well, that didn't happen. So that was the Shining On tour.
Wow.
So awesome. You guys want to start?
Yep. So we'll go for first album. We got On Time here. I got the images for. Well, you got it anyways to show off, so I don't need to show it. So there you go.
I got most of them. I don't have all of them, but
nice. Yep. It's definitely 1969 on that album cover.
Yep.
Total
got it twice for some reason. Don't ask me.
Yeah.
But
so it was recorded April, June. It's crazy. Just recorded 3 months. April, June 1969. Released in August. And yeah, it was on Capitol. Wikipedia categorizes it as heavy metal, which is kind of strange because it's not. Really.
I seen that too. Yeah, I was like,
heavy metal. I'm like, what? Okay, some of it maybe, but
yeah, that term was thrown around a little loosely until it was kind of more crystallized down the road.
Yeah, it says all tracks written by Mark Farner. So we got Are You Ready? We got Anybody's Answer, Time Machine, High on a Horse, the ever so popular TNUC. Read that backwards. Into the Sun, Heartbreaker, Call Yourself a Man, Can't Be Too Long, and Ups and Downs. So we'll start with DC. And what's your favorite of these songs?
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, as songs go, there's 3 that were played in the live set, that first live album that I could have picked from this album. Are You Ready? The aforementioned TNUC and Heartbreaker, that are right there together, any one of those 3, but I love the versions more on the live album. So I went off the beaten path a little bit and I picked Anybody's Answer. I was going to pick Ups and Downs, but that part in there where they start singing row, row, row your boat kind of gets me off track a little bit. And I meant to ask Mark about that when we interviewed him on Grant's Rock Warehouse, like, what's the genesis? Who thought to you guys to just go from the actual structure of the song to veer off into row, row, row your boat? But maybe we'll get a chance to ask him again sometime down the line. But I'm going to go for those 3 I like better, but I don't like these versions. Once I've heard those live versions, they just pale in comparison. So I'm just going to pick something fresh that has no association to the first live album, and I'm going to go with Anybody's Answer. That showcases these 3 musicians and how they were so in each other's head. And that's the key to a trio. You've got to really be able to play off of each other and almost know where the other person's going to keep things interesting. That's difficult to do with a threesome. So I'm going to go with Anybody's Answer. prefacing what I
Cool.
did with some of those songs that were on the live album that I truly like a lot, but
Yeah.
I never go back to this album for those
Oh.
songs. If I want to hear those songs, I listen to the first live album.
Okay. But how would they?
Yeah.
Some of that would be difficult to pull off live because Mark was the keyboard player too, right? So did they bring someone with them, or no?
Not early on. Mark would just switch off.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
had his keyboards and like foot stomping music when they would do that live. Mark would start out on the keyboard before they brought Craig Frost into the fold, and then it would stop, and then you had Mel and Don keeping the beat. But don't.
It's
Mark would
difficult.
put on his guitar and come to the mic. He goes, "Today, everybody want to," and so he would just switch off when need be.
It's difficult to do that, to pull it off.
He's an incredible talent, and that guy does not get the credit he deserves. Now, as a songwriter, vocalist, guitarist, and his rhythm guitar playing doesn't get the notice it should, but he's a tremendous rhythm player and a showman too, really.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
seemed like a really decent dude too. Like when you did that interview,
he is.
He's very down to earth.
What you see is what you get. He was so approachable, and we were just a conversation just flowed with him. And like I said, this is one of my heroes from way back in the day. But he just put, well, I don't know how Grant was, because Grant came to the equation much later. But for me, it was like, talk to Mark Farner. And it just flowed so easily, very accommodating, just a really great guy.
Sure.
So
cool.
It's always good. They say don't meet your heroes, but at least that was a good experience.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah, something like that just makes you appreciate the music even more. Really?
Yeah, there's nothing worse than meeting one of your heroes and then him coming off as a dick. It's like, I've had a chance to meet a couple of my heroes in the music realm and also in what I do as a profession in the cartooning world, like as a wee one, watching all those old Hanna-Barbera cartoons, Yogi Bear, Flintstones. I got a chance to meet Bill Hanna and Joe Barbera, and they couldn't have been nicer.
Wow, that's good.
So that would really taint their art in your heart and what you feel about it if they were dismissive or were dicks or whatever. So thankfully, all my heroes.
It would be weird. The guy that made Yogi Bear is an asshole.
What's that? You know, those guys that created that Yogi Bear, they're real dicks. No, they were very nice guys. Very nice.
Oh, that's funny.
Let's hear what you youngsters think about this Grand Funk Railroad.
So Logan, what's your favorite?
I get what DC's saying about like the first 3 albums or the first 2 from the live album, but to me these are my go-tos. I love these 2 albums. I mean, these are my favorite ones. I guess it's probably because I'm more of a hard rock kind of listener, so
for sure
I feel like some of these kind of lean more towards the heavier kind of end of the spectrum of Grand Funk Railroad's music. So I went with the last track on the live album. And what is it on it is the 6th track on Time. It's Into the Sun. Love that song. Just everything about it. I love Don Brewer's drum fills, and I love the change in pace. Like it goes from this like slower tempo section, and then they start doing that this is like the first song where they kind of start showing their funky kind of side, doing that that kind of thing.
It's like what we talked about, Logan, is when you're in a 3-piece, you got to work hard to keep it interesting. And so you have to slow down tempos. You have to have the 3 instruments interact in different ways within a song. And then you exponentially go out there with a concert. Now you've got an hour and a half with 3 guys, and you got to make 100%. It interesting. So agree.
And I think these guys really just strength to strength. They just kept improving as the career went on. Really. I mean, as musicians and everything, to me. I mean, if this is how good they are on the first album, just imagine later on. I mean, but yeah, that's about all I had to say. I mean, I love Mark's solo too. I mean, it's just Oh, I could talk about Farner as a guitarist like all day, especially on these first 2 albums, man. Oh, all of them.
He never makes any of these like best guitar player lists, but like he's a vocalist and a guitar player. I'm good at both. So like,
and the showman aspect, the songwriter aspect, everyone gets bogged down with the lead playing, which is very good. No, he's not approaching this like Jimmy Page or Richie Blackmore. Grand Funk Railroad's a different type of band, and he's the perfect guitarist for this band.
Oh yeah.
I think he's just a tremendous guitarist as well. But you know, what are you gonna do? There's going to be people that are going to have their own criteria for guitarists.
Yeah. So I went with "Are You Ready?" That's why you were killing me when you're like, I can't listen to this.
You hurt me, DC. Why are you got to be so hurtful? We just start the show and you're already being a dick.
Oh boy, I knew this was gonna be fun. Oh Jesus. See, I went with Are You Ready? I made lots of notes for all this. Yeah, fun, upbeat, high energy at rocker with the piano, and it just goes well with it's a simple but a catchy riff that goes throughout. Just sounds like the perfect song to open a show with, and I guess that's what they had on the first live album. I guess it was the opening song.
Yeah, you're correct.
Are You Ready? Right? So
I agree with you 100%. If Young DC would have heard the first album before the first live album, I'm sure my opinion on these songs would be different.
That's the thing. You heard the live album first, right?
Backwards.
So like hearing Kiss alive and then hearing the first Kiss album, right? Kind of that sort of thing.
But like I said, Are You Ready? What a perfect opener. And if you get a chance to listen to that first live album,
I gotta go listen
you could hear how effective Are You Ready is just coming out of the gates. The crowd's going nuts and they are so energized, and that song is even more up tempo.
I guess the piano wouldn't be there, right? Or did he like use a programmed?
Nope.
Did he program the piano in there?
No, that's way before they thought about doing that kind of stuff. They just went with it as a 3-piece,
right?
And just boom, plowed their way through it.
There's like a fun, fuzzy guitar solo, and there's nothing fancy. I just love the sound of it. Just ends on like a total blues jam where the guitar really picks up speed. Just fantastic ending to a great song. So that's
it culminates like a romantic interlude. Are you ready? 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 Boom. Done.
Oh my God. Lemonade stand.
Oh, what the? Oh, Ellie.
Oh boy.
Logan's multitasking.
Yeah, that's my pick. Are You Ready? And it's what a song to start off your career with, right? So
yeah, well, it's 3 solid picks there. So and this is great because we're getting all age groups covered, so to speak. You're getting an oldster who was there when it happened, and you guys weren't even on the planet, I'm assuming, when all this went down. It is infinitely interesting to hear younger people and their feelings and what they're pulling out of music of my timeline.
Yeah.
Because you guys are coming at it from a whole different angle. That's just utterly interesting to me on that front. Yeah, like, I'm glad they're young people like you guys out there.
If I told anyone my age, if you heard of Grand Funk, they'd look at me and be like, "What is that? A perfume? Like, what is that?"
Oh yeah, Grand Funk, the perfume. Ladies, splash on a little Grand Funk tonight and thank me later.
See, if Gene Simmons was in Grand Funk, you know there would be a Grand Funk.
You know it. You know it.
So then we move on to, do you have this to show off? The second album, which was weirdly titled Grand Funk, even though it's their second album. So yeah, there you go. The famous, the Red Album, as most people.
The Red Album, yeah, that's a tremendous cover, though. This tells you what this band is all about at this time.
Yeah,
right there.
You'd almost think it was a live album too.
Yeah, exactly. They could have swapped this image for the live album image. It would have been just as great.
Yeah, so for this, recorded October 10th to the 21st, 1969. So it was just crazy how quickly they were just recording this stuff. Came out December 29th, same year, 69. So you got 2 albums in 69. We got Got This Thing on the Move, Please Don't Worry, Highfalutin Woman, Mr. Limousine Driver, In Need, Winter in My Soul, Paranoid, and Inside Looking Out. So what's DC's pick from this?
Again, I'll reiterate the songs that were on the first live album, In Need, Paranoid, Inside Looking Out. I still prefer the first live album versions of those songs. Those songs would rate right at the top for this album. They're tainted because I heard the first live album version before I heard the studio version, but love all 3 songs. And like I did with the first album, I'm going to go outside anything that was on that first live album. And I'll just put the opening track, because this, like Are You Ready from the first album, this is a perfect opener on this album. Got This Thing on the Move.
Okay.
All 3 players get the shine. All 3 get a little bit of presentation in an intense way that makes you see what makes all 3 of them special and what great players they are. So, yeah, I mean, there's a couple tunes here that I like everything on here, but Highfalutin Woman and Mr. Limousine Driver, they're okay. But I mean, everything else here, top shelf. But I'm going to go with Got This Thing on the Move. I'm going to go with that one.
What's wrong with a highfalutin woman?
It just, to me, it just seems like a throwback from another era. And I don't know. It just doesn't resonate with me. I like Winter in My Soul. It kind of even starts as like kind of a country tune, which they would pick up on that later on with the album Phoenix in country-like directions. But that's a good one too. This is a very good album here, folks.
I would give. I know we're not rating them, but I'd give this album a 10 if I were to do that. So yeah, I think
this is my favorite one, guys. I think I said that when Grant and DC were going through the albums. I think I brought that up.
I think this and Pluribus would probably be equal for me. Yeah, they'd be my tied for first. I don't know if I could even pick one over the other because I love both those. Yeah. So yeah, let's Logan, what's your favorite on this? I already know what it is, but yeah.
Do you know what it is?
I indeed do.
Indeed, In Need.
Yep.
Yeah, I went with In Need on this one. Yeah, and it's a little bit longer on the live album. I can't remember if Mark likes solos longer. He probably does, I'm guessing. But kind of going back to what we talked about already, I mean, these guys just, they keep everything interesting. The song like changes constantly, like 2 minutes of like a rock and soul kind of song, and I love Mark's lyrics, ain't nobody gonna know about my bread, that kind of thing. Just sing it, just fun stuff, man. Yeah. And then like Mel's bass line that kind of follows the rest of the track. Yeah. And well, until Mark takes the solo. And I love that solo, man. That's probably one of my favorite guitar solos on a recording probably ever, really. I mean, it's up there.
Yeah, that's a great solo.
Yeah, and I just love the shouting too, the live energy. It's like you can hear Mark or Don. I don't know who's doing it, but somebody's like shouting and stuff in between his like lead lines. Yeah.
I think a lot of those little vocal shouts that just come out of the blue are Don. Like if you see any footage live, he's playing, he goes, yell or something like that. Where Mark, I think, is more focused on in the actual lead part. But it's great repertoire between the 3 guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's an Animals cover. I've never heard the original. It's probably totally different, I imagine.
What is
the original oh, sorry, you did In Need. Sorry, I'm thinking Inside Looking Out. Sorry.
Yeah, you're all right.
You're thinking the other long jammy song, right? Yeah.
That one's killer too.
Yeah. So now I went. It was cool. We all have different picks. So I had to go with this. I went with Paranoid.
Oh yeah.
It's not a Black Sabbath cover. This song, I'd argue, is better.
That's Sydney. That's a good point because as a youngster, I was already familiar with the Black Sabbath version of Paranoid. And I look at the album when I got they did a Black Sabbath cover here. No,
this is actually older, right?
Yeah, and I like it better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, starts off with sounds like a recording of like an old radio broadcast. And then here, which is oddly weird, there's like a siren noise, which kind of reminds me of the siren during the opening of War Pigs. So it's called Paranoid.
Yeah.
The siren from War Pigs, which is very strange.
Lots of sirens in this time period with rock songs. You also had Blood Rock with DOA.
That's right. Yeah, they did do that.
Which totally horrified my family when one of my older cousins played it for everybody at a Christmas get-together.
That's the best kind of Christmas music.
Teach me how to die. Would you pass the cookies, please?
Oh yeah, then I put that it kicks into like this simple but heavy riff with like a ton of wah-wah. Kind of reminds me of early Uriah Heep. Becomes somewhat of like a soulful blues song. Mark's voice just sounds amazing. There's like 3 separate solos on here. The first one's just like this short, fun, bluesy solo. Second one's a bit longer and faster, and she's just got this great fuzzy tone. And then like 5 minutes into the song, it picks up speed before going back to the wah-wah riff from the beginning, and then goes into this really fast, blazing solo that I love. Then it ends with like a totally different riff that wasn't in the song at all, and kind of goes back and forth the drums, followed by a baby crying at the end.
Yeah, just to creep you out.
Weird, really weird.
Creep you out.
It makes you paranoid. That's the point. Let's make a song that'll make you paranoid.
That was another thing they did back in the day, was add these little things to songs that would freak the hell out of people. I remember putting Black Sabbath's Master of Reality, just purchased it, mind you, on the console in the Collins living room.
Not your living room, Logan.
Put the needle down, and we come to Sweet Leaf. And we get my dad comes running into the living room. He's thinking someone's choking on a Dorito or something. I said, Dad, it's just a song. And he goes,
oh, that was uncanny. Was that your recording on that song?
Oh, be coughing. Yeah, that's me.
You get
13-year-old DC cough. I'm credited.
You retired at that cough with those cough royalties.
If you look at the fine print on the Master of Reality in the credits, I'm coughing. Young DC Collins. Yep, that's me.
Oh, that's funny. Oh,
Kiefer Livingston says, my second favorite album of all time, and begins with a cough.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's his favorite part of the album.
Oh, the
cough.
Oh, my God.
I give it an 86. It's good to dance to.
Just go around coughing and people say, you're okay? Or no, I'm just singing Black Sabbath. It's okay. Oh, so then we get to Closer to, might want to show it the right way. Closer to Home, this album. Third album. So.
And did you guys know that they got good promotion from Terry Knight, who was their manager? He bought a big sign in Times Square, New York City, with this graphic from this album touting Closer to Home. So Grand Funk was hot shit back in the day. Was that?
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, he bought it. If you look in the live album, the poster that came with it with the original vinyl, it shows Times Square in that very big advertisement that he purchased, and it was there for a month. And I'm sure that got the band a lot of interest.
Oh, yeah.
They were popular. They were expected to become huge, and just, stuff happens in the business. Wasn't a very good
What
ending.
would you guys say? I mean, it was like a couple years. They were probably one of the biggest bands in America, right? Almost.
They were, and then they're completely not a part of the conversation. They were the biggest thing going back then. I mean, selling out Shea Stadium the way they did, with very little, how should we say, airplay on the radio other than FM radio that was emerging a bit back then. These guys did it all on their own from word of mouth, and
Yeah, and the critics didn't help him out, right? Because Rolling Stone hated them, right?
Oh yeah, they pissed somebody off at Rolling Stone because these guys were just
these shirtless hippies.
Shirtless hippies, no talents. Rod Stewart called him the Great White Noise. He was not a fan. Yeah, the Great White Noise. But anyway, we still have the couple of remnants here on this album of songs that appeared on that first live album, which I'm going to follow through and not include them as my favorite on this album, although I love Mean Mistreater. I guess that's the only one that they played. Yeah, Mean Mistreater is the only one. This album here, and I love I'm Your Captain. I've heard it so many times I don't need to hear it again, but there's no denying its greatness. The second half of this album, I'm not too crazy about, like Get It Together, I Don't Have to Sing the Blues, and Hooked on Love. Yeah. For me, it fluctuated between Sin's a Good Man's Brother and Aimless Lady. And I'm going to go with the leadoff track again, Sin's a Good Man's Brother.
Yeah.
That'll be my pick for Closer to Home.
All right.
It just starts it out. They have a great knack for picking the perfect leadoff tune among whatever they recorded for whatever album.
Well, I'm just gonna piggyback off that because that's mine too. Love that. Love that song, man. Yeah. I mean, the acoustic like intro kind of fools you into thinking it's gonna be something different, and then that, that fuzz guitar comes in.
Agreed.
One of the best intros, man, from like this period, from any album to me. I mean, it's just love it. And I love the whole the way the verses are structured. Like he sings something, and then they do the riff. I thought that was always kind of cool. And then like they go into this jam section too in the middle, and I just love everything about it, man. Yeah, Mark plays some cool leads and everything throughout the track, and just classic song, man.
It's like we're saying, Logan, these guys always had to be aware when they're creating in the studio and knowing they're going to be performing live. You got to keep it interesting. Yeah. 3 guys. And, the bass is kind of like the liaison between the musical and the rhythmic. You've got really one pure musical instrument, the guitar. Although I will say with Mel, a lot of times his bass playing is like a second guitar, much more than just the backbone of the song. A lot of times it's like his playing was really astounding and in its ability to make you believe there's another guitar there, or just there's more going on than you would think for a 3-piece.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
Well, it's how some people think it's kind of a detriment to the band because of how loud Mel's bass tone was, but I think it makes it work. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just killer.
That's good, Logan, because when I did this series with Grant, I'm thinking before we started the shows, Grant's a bass player. He is going to love Mel on this live album and what he's bringing to the equation. He hated it. Just thought it was too much, just over the top and overwhelming, and the proceedings and such. So we all hear things different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna break the tie. I was close, but I'm going with the other song you mentioned, "The Nameless Lady." Again, it's one of the it's a lot of my CDs before I started buying my own were my dad's, and he let me have them all when I moved out. And this was the only Grand Funk one he actually owned. So, and I remember "Aimless Lady." I think I put it on, like I used to make my own burnt mix CDs and stuff, and I threw "Aimless Lady" on one of them. So I've heard that song countless amount of times. So I had to go with that. And yeah, it's just like this soulful rock song. Again, I love Mark's voice on these kind of songs. Just simple but fun. Good fun guitar solo in there, just like a blues jam solo. It's a memorable song that sticks in your head. It's just, it's one of the first songs that I think of when I think of Grand Funk, honestly.
That harmony vocal they do, like in the middle section of that song.
Should I try? And Don and Mark they were wonderful when they teamed up with their vocals. It's there are people that harmonize, and it usually sounds good. And then there are people that harmonize. There's a little something special going on in the mix, and I think Mark and Don had that.
Oh
And
yeah.
that song, Sydney, is a great showcase for Mark's rhythm playing too. I
Oh yeah.
mean, so yeah, great
It's a great
pick.
song. Like, and the piano goes well with it too. It's just a great song.
Mm-hmm.
So then what's the next? So now we get to Survival, the Caveman cover. Oh, yeah, their covers got more interesting.
Yeah.
From here.
I actually think, despite how kind of bizarre this is, that this is a great album cover. I like the typeface they used for the Survival too.
I was gonna
That
say
is
that
actually
too. Yeah,
like a
DC, I love that.
caveman
You know.
just took a stick,
Yeah.
dipped it in. Well, it's white, but say it was blood, and just wrote Survival.
Oh, yeah, we
Crazy
got,
album cover. I'd love to know the story of the photo shoot for sure.
that's weird.
I'm going to make a note, Logan. If we get Mark back on, I'm going to get the full story about this this photo shoot. What went down? Whose idea was it? What the boys thought about wearing the loincloths. I know
so
when I
weird.
had this original album back in the day, you got 3 little mini posters of each guy in the band in their caveman garb. And I think my girlfriend at the time bogarted those from me, and I never got them back. But funny,
yeah.
very funny.
Yeah, we got yeah, it was recorded March 1st to 3rd. Again, this recorded in 3 days in 1971. Crazy. And then came out in April. So just think of how quickly they were pumping out albums and just making this music and touring.
Oh yeah, we're a machine, man. Yeah.
So we got Country Road, All You've Got Is Money, Comfort Me, Feeling All Right, I Want Freedom, I Can Feel Him in the Morning, and a cover of Gimme Shelter by the Rolling Stones. So what's DC's pick going to be?
What you get when you're looking at this album cover is not what you necessarily get with this album, because this album's got lots of different flavors, and not necessarily of the heavy variety. You know, Country Road starts out, and you got this slightly eerie vibe before they get to the meat of the song. Comfort Me is very laid back and ballady. I Can Feel Him in the Morning is a gospel tune. And you want to talk about weirdness added into the mix of a song. You got these little kids talking about God to introduce the tune. And that last kid going, I think there are a lot more bad people than there are good.
It's very dark.
If you're good, you'll live forever. But if you're bad, you'll die when you die. Die when you die. You'll die when you die. You'll die, you die, 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 die.
Really dark album. It's really weird.
Them and the Crying Baby. How dare you do this to me, Grand Funk? Scaring the hell out of me. I'm trying to just listen to a fine rock release, and you're creeping me out here. But no, that's a wonderful, wonderful gospel tune sung by Don Brewer.
He's got a great voice.
I do like that quite a little bit. That cover of Gimme Shelter smokes.
That's a good,
Smokes, folks. I am going to, just because I'm going to make a off the beaten path pick, I'm going to pick I Can Feel Him in the Morning, because the one vocalist that I think is Mary Clayton, an uncredited Mary Clayton, who did a lot of those really fantastic gospel-y background vocals on Dark Side of the Moon. That's got to be her on this album. But everywhere we look for information, they say no.
Is she on the Stones' Give Me Shelter too, right, DC?
Yes, sir. Yeah. All the more weird. She don't sing on their version of Gimme Shelter here, but hey, we got another gospel. We got a gospel tinge. They said it was some singer they just pulled from Cleveland. I don't know.
It doesn't show her credited on here.
No credit whatsoever.
And there's not even any female credited on here. It's weird.
Very strange.
Maybe it was
I'm going to pick the spiritually haunting I Can Feel Him in the Morning from this album.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. I think this one kind of overall as a release, kind of a mixed bag. You know, they're doing all kinds of different stuff. and I don't think all of it works. And I, like Sydney was just saying, how fast this was released. They were just cranking these albums out. Sometimes I feel like maybe they should have waited just a teeny bit longer to get some better songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I went with the Stones cover. So I went with "Give Me Shelter" on here. Love their version of it. It's aggressive. It's heavy. And
Well, it
I
was
love
always
how Mark plays. Mark plays Keith's guitar solo the first time. He plays it like how Keith does, but then they I think it's like 4 minutes into it, they almost end the track, but then they start up again, and then Mark kind of gives his own signature sound to that tune. And I
Exactly.
love Don
Great
Brewer's
point.
vocal on that, man.
Great point. Yeah, that's a solid choice there. And of cover versions, they did a couple fine ones with versions of Animal songs.
Yeah.
But I think this one may be my favorite of their covers, but they had a knack for picking great material to interpret on their own. So,
because at first glance you would say, "Oh, Give Me Shelter. I don't need to hear another version of that." But then you hear it and you're like, "Okay, wow, this is actually really good."
Yeah, isn't that true, Sydney? It stays true to the original, but there's enough different going on that they really made it their own. So
his voice alone is completely different, right? Sounds nothing like Mick Jagger. So
exactly.
Yeah, Don kills that song, man. Oh
yeah,
great.
So
Mark sings kind of Mark. Well, okay, yeah. Go ahead, Sydney.
No, you keep going. What are you gonna say?
Oh, well, Mark kind of sings Mary Clayton's part, kind of, in the middle when he's singing the rape and murder part. So that's kind of cool.
Probably singing the high
but
part. Yeah, he would be singing those really high parts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went with "All You've Got Is Money," which is like a kind of a great blues rocker with lyrics about people only being your friend when you got money, or just always being after you for your money.
That's a running issue with Mark in his early career. People wanted to know how much money he made.
Pretty much.
Yeah, like in need,
Like he had a knack for writing songs about like bad parts of society, and last 3 minutes is him basically just soloing. The beginning of the solo is really fast and fiery, and the rest is just kind of like this bluesy jam thing again.
With the screams and such.
Yeah. One part during the solo. The screams.
They're trying to creep us out.
Do they? Come on, who's doing that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sydney. I'm sorry.
And we get like little kids screaming in the background again. I'm like, what's with the? I thought is this Bob Ezrin's kids?
Freaking me out, with their little asides here. I was just scrolling here, and way back when Kyle Hummel said, when I was talking about the coughing on Sweet Leaf, he said, "Don't worry, Dad, it's not a Dorito, it's just pot."
Yeah.
Oh my.
Kyle's a jokester, man.
I think the screaming kind of works. For what I took from that, I don't know. You'd have to ask Mark. But I guess it's you paint your own picture of it. But I think it goes well with like the dark song and the subject matter. I think it's him trying to say basically kids are screaming because there's like no hope for the children of the next generation kind of thing. Maybe that's what the whole point of that is.
You made a good point though, Sydney. This is kind of a darker album, I mean,
very dark.
Serious subject matter,
Bible, right? So
Give Me Shelter, the ending to All You Got Is Money. They're just
even the gospel song, DC. I mean, talking about spirituality and
Oh yeah. That little kid at the end, I'd like to know how he turned out, because he had a pretty sour worldview for 7 years old. I think there are more bad people than good. If you're good, you live forever, but if you're bad, you'll die when you die.
Find out he was shooting heroin by the time he was 12. And
who knows? Who knows?
Oh God.
Too funny.
Yeah, it's very, very dark song and a dark album. And then it's like, I guess that's what they were trying to go with that album cover, but then it just kind of ends up being laughable almost in a way. Like they were trying to make the album cover be dark too, but then it's just like, it's a bit silly.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, then we move on.
They did better on the next one.
Oh yeah. We move on to E Pluribus Funk.
I want to get the vinyl of that, man, because I love to have that.
Coin album. And the vinyl is actually the shape of just the coin itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, they spent some money on these guys as far as promotion and the design and the little goodies that would come with
Jeffrey Dahmer.
the
Oh my
vinyl.
God. It was Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, oh,
Jesus.
scary, scary.
Oh, oh yeah. Well, it was weird. As some albums, it said Grand Funk. This one says Grand Funk Railroad. They weren't really consistent on what they wanted to use for the name. Like weird.
Yeah.
Some albums they went kind of back and forth. It's just very strange. But yeah, this one came out in September '71, so it's like we already up to like five albums here in 2 years. Like it's just crazy.
Crazy.
A 3-year period.
Pretty impressive, yeah.
Crazy, pumping out albums. And then this one's a top one for me as well. So we got Foot Stompin' Music, People That Stop the War, Upsetter, I Come Tumbling, Save the Land, No Lies and Loneliness. And yeah, so we still don't have Craig Frost yet, but that's coming up soon. But yeah. So what's your thoughts on this one, and what's your favorite song on this? DC?
Well, Sydney, I share your enthusiasm for this album. Of the early years, this is my favorite.
Yeah.
Just from beginning to end, you can just put this thing on and be thoroughly entertained. You're going to stomp your feet. You're going to, I don't know, whatever you might want to.
You're going to do some foot stomping
in the background. You're going to do some foot stomping for sure.
Start a war protest.
Yeah, you're going to war protest, all that. You're going to be into the ecology and such. And then they do have kind of a tag on the end, similar to Closer to Home, with the loneliness that rounds everything out. But most of the album proper just rocks.
Oh yeah, it's a
and like I could have picked 3 or 4 songs that are my top tier. Upsetter, of course, Foot Stompin' Music, People That Stop the War, but I went with I Come Tumbling.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And then it kicks into another gear. It starts out that and then when the drums come in, it's like off kilter a little bit. When the drums come in, it all finds its mojo. I will pick that one on this album. But there are 3 or 4 tunes I could have picked.
Yeah, this was a tough one because there's so many great songs. You could go with anything.
Well, I was talking to Sydney this week earlier about this album because I really underlooked it, really. I just thought it was kind of like, just another like Survival or something to me. But then I put it on, man. It's like
it's nothing like Survivor. It's a way heavier. So if you're a hard rock fan, that's like one of the harder rockin' albums.
Yeah. But I went with the same song DC did.
How about that?
So yeah, I know we're kind of got the same last name, got the same picks.
I don't know what's family connection.
I knew you would follow in my footsteps, my musical son.
But yeah, pretty much everything you said. I almost went with Upsetter though, because I feel like them two kind of go together to me. Kind of like I have to listen to one after the other, because Upsetter is kind of more upbeat and poppy, and
Upsetter, but then I went with I Come Tumbling.
Wow.
Yeah, see, so we're even in sync with the second choice.
But you truly are my musical son, Logan.
This pretty much said everything that you said, pretty much. But I love in that middle section, it's pretty much all 3 of the guys are just like taking solos at the same time almost. It's very much like something like Cream would have done, in the 60s. Just all like going crazy at the same time.
Yes.
But and I love Don Brewer's drumming though. Oh man.
Yes.
I mean, that's probably some of his best. All the triplet fills and everything he's doing.
Yeah, so in the pocket, and the 3 of them, it just seems like they're just locked in. It's just so tight and interesting.
Magic, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm breaking the tie.
Okay.
Can
we have a drum roll, please?
I ended up going with No Lie.
Yeah.
No Lie. Right. It's just like great heavy song, almost a throwback to the second album, the Red Album. Like Mark sounds amazing again, just ferocious guitar riff in this one. Just all these great leads thrown in between, and just again a great guitar solo as to be expected from him. It's probably one of their heaviest, if not their heaviest album maybe. And the ending of the song picks up speed, and Mark just goes really nuts. I think this is a top 5 Grand Funk song for me. So yeah, I love the song. I love No Lies.
I think you said it. You said it perfect though, Sydney. That one and this one are probably their heavy albums. Heaviest.
Like to me, I heard this and just thought that could have been on there. Like you almost wonder if they had songs left over that they just decided like we still have stuff. Let's throw it on.
Sit on it for a little bit.
Well, they were pumping them out so fast. Yeah.
You wonder if a lot of the stuff was already written, and that's how easily they were putting out albums because the stuff was all probably really written already. I don't know. It's hard to.
I agree, and and what's a little bit different, like the Red Album and E Pluribus are their heaviest early. Well, they're their heaviest albums completely, but I think with E Pluribus, you start with Foot Stomping, and until you get the Loneliness, it just rocks. Whereas the Red Album, you have little breathers worked within how they laid out the album, sequencing it. So
even Loneliness is still a pretty reasonably heavy song, though, for what it is.
Yeah, for what it is. Yeah, you got a lot of
soloing or anything, but it's still just it has this dark. It's almost like a dark heavy, right? Like it's
heavy subject matter.
For sure.
They ain't singing about tea and crimpets, folks.
He doesn't know about loneliness. He was a ladies' man back in the day.
I think we all have our moments of loneliness and reflection.
Uh-oh, here we go.
But not to get sidetracked.
Now we move on to, for me, I don't know, maybe DC loved this album. I know Logan is not crazy about it either. For me, this was a little bit of a big drop off for me. Which is a shame because it's probably my favorite album cover by them.
Oh, that's a beaut. That album cover is a beaut.
I looked at this before I hadn't heard this album before going and trying to do this assignment. And I looked at that and thought this is going to be like their most rock and heaviest thing. And
you guys ready for this gatefold? Is it going to scare you?
If you must.
Oh God, is it that bad? Oh boy. Put a shirt on.
The Shirtless Wonders.
Yes, the Shirtless Wonders.
Oh boy. At least they didn't have
Mel's doing the whole.
Mel's giving you the full show.
Yeah.
Mark and Don are a little bit laid back. Mel saying, "Ladies, check it out. I'll be on the road in 2 months. Check it out."
Yeah, it's a great album cover. But yeah, it makes sense. It does, like you said, we mentioned earlier, it kind of went like in a country or direction, which makes sense. It was recorded in Nashville, so that actually makes a lot of sense. They were probably there and just were influenced by all the Nashville music that was going on. Hey, let's play this stuff too.
I did ask Mark about that. He did say, their environment did influence a lot of the songwriting. This is their most unconventional release. Like you said, recorded in Nashville, and of course, just the vibe of that city is going to influence you. They no longer had Terry Knight. These boys were out doing it on their own.
Yeah. And Craig Frost came in at this point. He's an additional personnel. He's not an official member yet, but he played apparently on this. So.
And here's the thing, folks. Would you ever think you would have a Grand Funk album or song where you would feature fiddle? But country fiddle legend Doug Kershaw plays on the title track, Flight of the Phoenix. And for me, I'm going to pick that as my pick for this album. It's an instrumental. I'm not going to count a little bit of vocalizations at the end of the song. This is an instrumental, and I'm astounded at how well the fiddle worked. It's
overbearing, right? Like it's not like it's just nothing but fiddle. Like there's more to it.
Yeah, there's keys. It rocks. The guitar eventually comes in, and they just play off of each other. And I wouldn't call this a foot stomper, but it's a toe tapper.
That ending part, they kind of do the high part of foot stomping music, like the vocal. I think that's kind of what it was from.
Good point. Good point.
If you're done, DC, that's my pick too. So
here's a three-way tie coming
again.
Cool.
Must I reiterate?
I thought about "You Gotta Move Me," but man, I can't get down with them lyrics. About a 14-year-old.
Logan, it was a different era, and when I look back at the 70s, I'm kind of shocked at how normalized these bands of guys in their mid-20s were nailing 15 and 16-year-old girls. And this one goes further. How was I to know she was only 14 years old? What? What?
Oh man.
Maybe it's the Yogi Bear T-shirt. I don't know. I know. At the time, I didn't give it much thought. And now in retrospect, it was like, man, what a time. They always show all those bands that were in LA back in the mid 70s running around with these notorious groupies that weren't more than 15 or 16 years old. And it's
crazy.
Yeah, it's astounding to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all I wanted to add was that the fiddle part and the solo of Mark Varner, they just kind of like interplay off each other. I love that part. And on the CD, I don't know what CD DC has, but it has like an extended version of it on the reissues, which is worth checking out. I mean, it's just like a minute or two longer. But
yes, sir, I have it.
Yeah, cool.
Mark did say when we interviewed him that Doug Kershaw pretty much played that whole fiddle solo lying down on the ground for whatever reason. Just as a fun fact for you.
He was tired.
Yeah, guys, come on.
14-year-old warm out.
Yeah.
Oh no. That must be where it came from. See, because they went to Nashville and met this fiddle guy. Yep.
Sent him down the wrong road.
Oh my God.
How was I to know?
He was fiddling.
Maybe we should get to Logan's pick for this particular album.
Yeah. Logan, you're going with this as well, right? I think you already.
Sydney picked mine. Yeah, we need Sydney's pick.
Okay, so yeah, I went with Flight of the Phoenix as well.
Oh,
so we got a three-way tie.
Bing, 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 bing.
Three-way tie.
Three-way tie.
Almost like a southern. It's a upbeat, like southern rock style boogie instrumental. Almost kind of reminds me of something Skinner could have done.
Mm-hmm.
I got a fun song with the organ and your typical bluesy solo. That solo comes in, it's kind of predictable. You know how the solo is going to sound before you hear it. But then it's just overall a really fun song, right? Not much to say, just this good fun instrumental song. And I think it's the highlight because there's like a lot of like kind of just soft ballads and stuff. And just a lot of
to me, it's like the first song and the last song on this album are the best ones.
And there's a bit of meandering. Yeah, a bit of meandering. My second pick would have been I Just Gotta Know. I have that noted on my notes. But Ellie says, for you world travelers, in Canada, a 14-year-old girl can consent to sexual activity if the other person is less than 5 years older than her, and there is no relationship of trust, authority, or dependency involved.
Sorry, Logan, you're above 19 now.
So you teachers can't take advantage of that situation.
There's been a lot of that going on.
Ali, thank you for that fun fact.
Hopefully
our audience will be putting that to good use.
That was the best information anybody could give off on a Grand Funk Railroad show.
We've heard from our listeners.
This video's getting taken down.
Get 2 marks against the
slogan. We're all going to be on a list now. Oh God! So now we get to we're an American band. You got that one to show, or there you go. Of course, not the greatest album cover. Kind of like a.
Should I open this, guys, or
you can open it?
Yeah, we have a couple ladies tuned in. They might like the eye candy.
Cool.
Okay, I'll show this side first. Okay, right?
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
What, Mel?
What's going on there, gentlemen?
I don't know why Mel was always so free and easy with the nakedness. Ellie likes that cover.
The cover or the inside?
I think she likes the inside, is what she's saying.
Very
patriotic.
Oh my God! There you go.
You can't say they don't love their country.
They don't have that hanging in the White House?
It's very patriotic.
Can you imagine? Maybe if there's a female president, they'll have that hanging in the White House.
Who knows?
Oh, so yeah, this again, recorded in 1973 in 3 days. Again, these albums being recorded in 3 days to me is just nuts.
Well, the big thing about this one, right? Todd Rundgren comes in. So
they needed some direction because the boys were kind of just floating. They didn't have Terry Knight, and the sound was a bit more raw under him, but it suited what the band was, and for the time it worked. But we're moving into a different era now. We're getting into the mid-70s, and if this band was going to have legs, they had to have more commercial success. Who better at that time period to bring in as a producer than Todd Rundgren? Yeah. This is very sleek and polished, but it rocks. And it's still Grand Funk Railroad. I mean, it's not like you don't recognize the band anymore.
This is kind of like the middle between the heavier kind of stuff they were doing and the stuff they do later on too.
That's right, Logan. It's the line of demarcation in this band's history between what had been and what it will be going forward.
I thought we were in Flint.
We got the title. We got the title track. Stop Looking Back. Creepin'. Black Licorice. The Railroad. Ain't Got Nobody. Walk Like a Man. And Loneliest Rider. So, DC, what are you going with?
This is another very solid album.
This is a strong album.
Very strong. Like I say, I can't ignore the greatness of the tune "We're an American Band," but I have heard it so many times that one's not going to be my pick. Now we narrow it down. I like Creepin'. That's grown on me over the years. What a moody piece of work that is. Stop Looking Back is a toe tapper of the highest order. I like that quite a little bit, but I am going to go with Black Licorice. For so long, that song, I didn't know what they were singing. It says she's killing me. So she must really be something, this Black Licorice lady. So it rocks. It's funky. It's funny. I like the beginning with the ooh wee. Boom, 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 boom. Then you get that mel bass. I like it quite a little bit. I'm gonna pick Black Licorice.
Nice.
What a good version on this live album too. I love the version on here.
Yeah. Very good.
But yeah, I went with The Railroad, which is
nice.
What is that? The song that starts side 2 of the vinyl. And I think kind of the that's what I wrote down too. Is kind of like, their kind of song, the title of the band kind of. I'm sure they were inspired by, the way a Flint probably is and all the jobs, and I'm sure there's plenty of railroad stations there. And
the blue collar ethos. They didn't go working on the assembly line building Chevys, but they went with a blue collar kind of vibe-ish thing. And don't you like the syncopation? It gets to a point there where they're like pounding
it starts sounding like a train kind of going too.
And it sounds like a train's coming at the same time, and you have this syncopation between the train, the pounding of the nails into the railroad tracks, and you think it's going to go off the rail and never line up, but it does. And then boom, they're back into the song.
Yeah, that's another thing about this song. It's kind of, I don't know, it starts like kind of mellow and dramatic, and then that second part, which is a lot of Craig Frost keyboard parts and stuff. I mean, it's just, it's got like a certain tone to it. Pretty cool. Like,
agreed.
Yeah, it's dramatic. I'm sure Todd had a lot to do with that, for sure.
Yeah, he's good at that stuff.
Oh yeah. This is again, this is how you know it's a good album. We all picked something different here. So I went with Walk Like a Man, which was kind of a hit as well, I think.
I think that was the second single from the album.
Yeah. To me, it's just like a fun mid-paced blues rocker with Don singing this, drummer. He's got such an excellent voice. I love his vocals on this song. It's just No wonder these guys had such great vocal harmonies with two great singers, Mark and Don.
That's another thing. That's another thing about the Railroad, because like how Don sings the "Working on a Railroad" part when Mark's singing. Oh man, love that.
They really knew when to, in shared vocals, overlap or join, and they played off each other vocally. They had that sync going musically between the two of them. And like with Walk Like a Man, how about Don Brewer? He's going to strut like a cock until he's 99. 99, folks. I don't think I'm doing much strutting at my age, let alone if I would make it to 99. I'm more like hobbling like a chicken whose one leg was used for a drumstick.
The lyrics are funny, though.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I did love his vocals, and just Mark just rips away on a great solo, and Mel is no slouch on the bass.
Yeah.
And Craig Frost is a great keyboard player. Like all four of these guys are just excellent musicians. Don't get enough credit for their contributions to music, and I think a song like this highlights the talent of all four of them to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great, memorable hard rock song. Like, yes, he did. Foghorn Leghorn.
Foghorn Leghorn. I say I'm gonna strut like a cock to the winter hens. There's something wrong with a boy that don't like baseball.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Walk Like a Man was a hit in Canada, says George. Yeah, it was a hit in the States. Maybe it charted even higher in Canada.
Yeah, I remember hearing that song all the time. So that's probably why it's my favorite. I did hear it a lot. I remember growing up and liking it. So.
And Weird Debbie says along the Railroad tune, they are pounding.
Yes.
Pounding the rails.
They're pounding, yeah.
They're pounding. Yeah, we won't get into that.
A lot of pounding when they went on tour.
Oh my God. Oh boy. So then we get to Shining On, which was probably their big album. Because you got
I got the vinyl, right? I don't have the album cover.
Nice.
So yeah.
So this was like this just says recorded in 74, so now there's not even really a date. But it says again came out in 74. We got the title track Shining On, To Get Back In, The Locomotion, which everybody knows, Carry Me Through, Please Me, Mr. Pretty Boy, Getting Over You, and then Little Johnny Hooker. Kind of a funny title.
Mm-hmm.
So what's DC's favorite?
Again, carrying on with the greatness of Don. Of American Band, we get Shining On, another top shelf album by the boys. And I like just about every track on here, except for Mr. Pretty Boy, I could do without.
That's weird.
Little Johnny Hooker is funny and clever, and I love that tune quite a little bit. Please Me is a good one, but I'm going to go for my fave is going to be the title track, Shining On. Man, that cooks. So much interplay between guitar, keys, drum, and bass. The synchronicity of three now becomes the synchronicity of all four. Love it. Chef's kiss. That's my pick.
Nice.
Yep.
Logan?
Well, keep it shining on.
Oh, there you go.
How did I know?
Just killer, man. I love everything about it. It's what DC said pretty much. And I love that like delayed guitar effect that's on Mark's guitar throughout the intro. And it sounds like he's kind of like playing harmonics, which is pretty cool. But yeah, just I don't, about 2 minutes in, I like how they bring like the chorus in the middle of his solo too. Kind of changes things up. So it's not just like Mark starts the solo and then they bring the backing vocals in, which is kind of unique. And then Craig gets a little solo and I mean,
it just made it so interesting. The little touches of flavor and playing off of each other instrumentally that runs through the whole song. Like I said, the synchronicity of three now becomes in this song really the synchronicity of the four players. Tremendous.
Yeah, they just added Craig into the mix and it works just as good as it did with a three-piece, really.
Mm-hmm.
I want to mention too, if Destitute and Losing was on this album, I probably would have went with that because I love that
that's
song.
heavy.
The bonus tracks,
That is a really heavy tune and is like came out just post release of The Exorcist. It's got those
Really?
doomy and gloomy aspects to the tune. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess they might have just figured it was so much of an outlier thematically and song approach wise.
Yeah.
You
Well,
they should have pulled, what's the one I just said I can't stand?
Mr. Pretty Boy, right?
Mr. Pretty Boy, yeah, Destitute
Yeah.
and Losing. Drop
Maybe
that one
maybe
in
they
there.
could have put Destitute
Apparently
and
it was-
Losing at the end, and then it would kind of be like you know how the Red Album ends and Closer to Home ends, kind
Oh,
of something like that, you know.
there you
apparently
go.
it was the B-side to the Locomotion, which is, let's talk about two opposite songs.
Yeah, really. If you want, should I get this
What?
album? I like this Locomotion song.
The next song's gonna be happy too. What the
Yeah, at least they kind of prepare you though in the title. I mean,
Yeah, they're not going to be playing that one at the roller rink, folks.
No. But this is probably where I'm gonna get some hate. Everybody's ready to do the train. I picked the Locomotion.
Okay.
So yeah, this was
nothing wrong with that, man. Yeah.
this was of course the first grand funk song I ever heard. As just I heard it all the time around the house. Parents played it a lot. My dad was a DJ as well, so
Oh.
he was playing it. Well, I was born in the 70s, but he still kept playing the song because he always liked it.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
and it's one of
I
those
seen
songs-
he was telling a story up there when we first started about that. That
yeah,
they were
like,
playing it at a party and like people were like, I don't know,
jumping up
they're
and
like
down
jumping up and down. Yeah.
making the floor shake.
That's
Like-
funny, Sydney, how you mentioned it's not only just purely a song, it's a song that hits you at a certain age
Right.
and how it resonates with you. And it's more than just a song as you move through life and how you feel about it. So for you in your young life and you're starting to appreciate music, that tune played an important role for
Yeah,
you.
like as a kid, like I loved hearing that.
Oh yeah, and you can't deny that kind of influence
Oh yeah.
in shaping your tastes in music and how you're going to feel about a particular song, even into adulthood. So it's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
as a
Mark
kid,
solo in that song too, man. Oh, wow.
as
Yeah.
a kid, I didn't even realize it was a cover because as a kid, you don't know cover song. You're just kind of like you're a kid, right? You just hear the music.
Mhm.
So it's their most well-known song, even though it's a cover. Like I said, I didn't really know it was a cover the first time I heard it as a kid. I used to watch the movie Honey, We Blew Up the Kid with Rick Moranis. And there's
Mhm.
a scene where the kid is dancing along to the Little Eva version. And I just thought, oh, it's just another version of that song I like. I didn't realize
Oh, they're cheap. They didn't want to pay for the Grand Funk version. Got some chick to sing it. Bah.
Oh, yeah, as a kid, I didn't even realize. I probably didn't even know who Grand Funk was, though, to be honest. I probably just heard the song and liked the song as a
Mhm.
kid. It's just
But
like,
what a
as a-
perfect song for this band, Grand Funk Railroad, the
Yeah.
locomotive. I
And you
mean,
wouldn't think, though. Like, you would not think, but it's
Yeah.
kind of a soulful song, so it makes sense.
I guess the story goes that Farner had
now
a
I know the
recording
story,
studio called The Swamp. The boys were out at lunch. He would go to his house and eat. Comes back, he's coming through the door singing, "Everybody's doing," and Rundgren goes, "What's that?" Which I'm shocked that he didn't know the song "The Locomotion," and he says, "We're recording that right now." The other three of them were out
Crazy.
having a smoke, brought them all in. They recorded it right then and there. So
Crazy. They weren't even going to do it. Like, it wasn't even a plan. Mark was just singing it out loud to himself, and Todd
Mhm.
Rundgren's like, "Hey, Todd's
Hey.
got an ear for it." I guess he realized thought it was. I don't know. It was smart.
Perfect. Yeah.
How much money they made, I don't know, because they didn't write it, right? So they don't get their writing royalties. That's the issue
Right.
with that thing. But
They probably made $1 or $2 on that recording.
dollar.
I'm guessing.
A couple,
Like-
yeah, a couple. Yeah.
I just think this version though it rocks. Just in parts, just in short of that part with the distorted guitar solo, it kind of comes out of nowhere.
And just a rhythmic.
Out of nowhere. Like
Then the vocals come in. And Ellie's asking me, DC, have you ever done the locomotion? I know the youngun's not likely. I didn't know there was a dance called the locomotion. I'm sure
everyone stood up and behind each other doing a
I
train.
spasmodically moved to this song back in the day, but I don't know a specific song that's called the locomotion, like the mashed potato or the frug. So I think I've danced to it, but not the locomotion dance, if there is such a thing.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, just find the solo comes in, right? It's got that distorted solo, which the guitar sound on that,
Yeah, George, the guitar sound is nuts on that song. It's like Todd turned all the levers up to 17 because it's got this overdrive to it, but it works so beautifully.
Yeah, it just comes out of nowhere. Like the song's not much different than the original until that guitar kicks in.
It's like, wait a minute.
Okay. But for me, it's like one of their signature songs. I know it's not theirs, but it's always in my head. So, so yeah, that's my pick. I know it's not the most exciting pick, but
hey, you got to go how you go. That's my motto. I get a lot of shit from my old man picks. Don't care. I go how I go, and I don't worry about it.
So now we get to DC's favorite album cover of all time. All the girls in the world beware.
Look at that. We probably have tripled our female viewership this program today. Look at that, ladies.
Before we went live, DC was mentioning one of those is actually Arnold Schwarzenegger's body.
Yeah, there's another famous bodybuilder that they used his body as well for this cover. But
I wonder if they ever used that guy Thor. Did they ever use him?
Thor.
The Canadian metal musician, but was also like a body.
Oh, yeah. But
it's funny that they used those guys.
Yeah,
I don't know what they were thinking with that. Like,
this is where visually a lot of big time Grand Funk Railroad fans jumped off the bandwagon. They just couldn't bring themselves to pick up this album in their local music store and take it up to the register. They just couldn't do it.
I don't know what they were thinking because they're largely a male audience, so it's
I don't know. Were they trying to garner more ladies to like the band? I don't know. But there's an awful lot of tiny underpants and shirtlessness and flat out nakedness going on with these fellas.
Yeah,
it's now that I'm thinking about it a lot, it's a little bit unsettling to me.
Well, at least he kept his clothes on during the interview you guys did. So.
True.
Oh.
You want me to give you my spiel?
Yeah, this came out in 74. You got Responsibility, Running, Life, Look at Granny, Run. This is where the titles get a little bit ridiculous sometimes. Yeah. Memories, then you got the title track, All the Girls in the World Beware, Wild, Good and Evil, Bad Time, and then the huge hit, Some Kind of Wonderful.
I always thought that was kind of funny, isn't it? Kind of funny. The hits are in the back half.
Yeah.
Backloaded. Yeah, that's a good point, Logan. Yeah, I don't know. This album here is when Grand Funk truly went pop because they had hinted at it the last two albums, but wasn't overt. This is a very much a pure pop album with some hard rock overtones worked in, but this is a pop album here, folks.
For the most part. Yeah.
It does have one of the really great pop tunes of the mid 70s in Bad Time. I never get tired of that song. As many times as I hear it, I still really, really love that tune. You got Running on here, which is Grand Funk Railroad meets Chicago, which is a good song as well. I mean, this album didn't turn me off from this band. You know what? If you're an artist, you can't continue to do the same thing album after, unless you're AC/DC.
It's something different.
Yeah, then you can make a career of pretty much following a certain pattern with very few off-track movements. For this album, my pick to click is going to be All the Girls in the World Beware, because it's just so freaking funny along with a great groove.
It's a fun song.
And in your lifetime, did you ever think you'd hear lyrics such as, what does it say? I got dark brown stains in my underpants. When I first heard that, I thought, what did I hear that? What? I'm laughing. I said, because I thought I made it up in my head.
From meaningful political and society lyrics to stains in an underpants. Go figure.
Kyle said, "Looks like the caveman on the cover of Survival suddenly discovered weightlifting."
Yes, and waxing.
Well,
Hilarious. Yeah. Hilarious. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I kind of had a hard time with this one, to be honest with you guys.
Yeah,
Like
me too.
DC is 100%, about it being like a pop album. Which, I mean, yeah, some of the tracks are pretty good for that. I think "Bad Time," I agree with you about that. That's probably one of the first Grand Funk Railroad songs I ever heard was "Bad Time." So hearing that and then going back and hearing this heavy stuff, it was like, what were these guys trying to do?
Yeah.
They're kind of all over the place. But I get it. Around this time, they were probably starting to want to have a little bit more hits, and like DC was saying, some of the songs on the last two records kind of have that, to get back in and stuff like that, kind of have that pop edge to them. But I went with like the bluesy jam on side 2. It was the B-side to "Bad Time" too. It's a "Good and Evil," which Don Brewer sings. By the way, I don't know what's going on with that. Like, he's got like a phaser on his vocal or something.
Yeah,
it's weird.
it's very.
But yeah, I just love the whole jam aspect of it, though.
So
Yeah.
nice. Evil.
Yeah. Well, we were just talking about what was "Locomotion," "Destitute and Losing" was the B-side to that, right? And this is the B-side to "Bad Time." It's like
happy upbeat song, dark sinister song, and the other thing.
You guys did it to yourself. You should have put a peppier B-side on these singles. You'd have sold more.
Like,
yeah, why didn't they put "Look at Granny Run Run"? Come on.
Yeah,
made to be a hit.
Now that was the case of a cover song, which I wish they would have used more discretion.
Yeah.
It's fun, but it's just like
having like the Archies as the single and Slayer as the B-side.
Yeah.
Kind of a hot spot too. It's the 4th song on side 1. That "Look at Granny Run Run."
Yeah.
Strange. But yeah, that was my pick. I just love the jam aspect of it. That's
all right.
That's one of the better.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I almost went with "Some Kind of Wonderful" because it was honestly the only song I heard before listening to this album. And none of the other songs really grabbed me except for one. So I was gonna go with "Some Kind of Wonderful" until this one song. Was it "Life"? Just starts off these cool bluesy leads by Mark before Craig, Mel, and Don come in with the organ, bass, and drums. A really fast-paced rhythm, actually. It has a dark sound. It has a dark sound to it, like the verses and stuff.
So that's a good tune. That's a good tune as well.
The chorus, which is very upbeat and catchy. So it's got this really dark verse, and then the chorus kicks in. It's all upbeat and happy again. Great guitar leads on Mark from this one. Yeah, it's probably one of the more rocking tunes, and the one that Logan picked actually has a lot of. It's a very difficult album to try to sit through. I don't know.
Yeah, this was the one.
Because I love them, but some of the songs are just forgettable.
Yeah, well, this was the one last night. I was listening to like certain songs, like I went through "Wild" and "Life" and "Running," and I was just like, I don't know, a lot of it's not hitting me the way like you can tell when something attaches to you musically.
You guys should have lived this back in the day with me and all my hardcore Grand Funk Railroad fans. Now they took that diversion with Todd with American Band and Shining On. They were along for the ride. Hey, little different. This is still Grand Funk though, man. You get to this album here, and that's when people were just jumping off the bandwagon. Get the hell out of here with that. I like it, but I'm a pop guy.
Probably because of "Some Kind of Wonderful" getting overplayed so much, right? People probably just
a little bit of that too. Ellie says, I think this is referencing the album cover with the waxed men. No Paul Stanley there. Ladies, if you would like her shoot men, get yourself up to Youngstown. There's a lot of Italians.
Oh my God. Oh, that's funny.
I know, I'm half Italian.
Then we get to so that's that album. So now we move on to "Born to Die." This is probably their darkest album cover because they're all in coffins. It's strange. It's weird because it's apparently because Mark just lost a cousin and died in a motorcycle accident. So what does he think? Let's all lie in coffins to honor him.
Yeah, how about that?
Strange, but very strange.
He's the only one that has a white bow tie too.
Yeah.
And I think at the time it was because he was the only one that was going to carry on with a solo career after this. Right. But then the other boys decided, hey, we're going to form Flint.
Yeah. And then we're going to sue you for the Grand Funk name.
That's right. How about them apples?
Yeah. All you've got is money, right? So yeah, we got Born to Die. This came out January 76. Got Born to Die, Dues, Sally, I Fell for Your Love, Talk to the People, Take Me, Genevieve, Love is Dying, Politician, and Good Things. So what's DC's favorite from this?
Still strong with the pop, but not quite as overtly.
Yeah.
Again, there are some really great tunes here. I like quite a bit of this album, a lot. I came down to, yes, it's a strange album cover, and the boys weren't all that excited about the photo shoot lying in those coffins. They were all creeped out, but
open casket at least.
they plowed through. I narrowed it down to 3, although I like everything but 1 or 2 songs on here. It was either going to be Dues, Take Me, but I picked Love is Dying, which is a tidy little pop rock tune. Dawn sings this one. I just went with that one. There's, like I said, 3 of them that are vying for my affections as best tune here, but really I like just about all this album except for 1 or 2 tunes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of long too for a LP. I think it's like 47 minutes. 48.
Yeah,
it's long. Yeah. It's one of their longer albums.
Yeah. But doing this, when we were talking about doing this one kind of, I know what I said about the hard rock and everything and all the girls in the world beware, being kind of too pop for me. But I think when DC started, he said pretty much how I feel. This one's kind of poppy, right? But it's got like a rock edge to it still.
They pulled back a little bit.
The songs are a lot stronger on this one to me than Girls in the World. Because this would be one of my top Grand Funk Railroad albums, probably.
I think it was a return to form guitar wise. There's more guitar. They're like, okay, let's just make a rock album again. It's still
And speaking of that, I am gonna pick the instrumental, Genevieve.
Oh, that's a great instrumental. These boys did some good instrumentals in the course of their career. Yeah, Genevieve's good.
Did you guys ever pick up like the intro kind of sounds like Craig Frost is kind of playing What I'd Say by Ray Charles. He kind of has that kind of rhythm. Okay. If you listen to it, it's kind of it's kind of just like that. Yeah.
It reminds me back in the day there was a coffee commercial where they showed the percolating coffee and the song went similar. But I'm old. No one else is going to know that.
Funny.
I have to look it up and then I'll know.
Yeah.
but yeah, I love that. And then like the main guitar theme comes in. And I just love how live in the studio this track sounds, kind of like as if the guys just plugged in and, this is what was caught, and I love Craig's little solo at the ending of the track too. And I wrote down songs like this really shows the strength of the overall band, with everyone gets a writing credit on this track. So it really feels like a group effort. Yeah.
Yep.
Just incredible, man.
Logan's going to name his firstborn Genevieve.
I might, even if it's a guy, I might do it.
Does that mean she'll be a mute because it's an instrumental? She'll never talk.
Why did you name me Genevieve, Father?
So I didn't have to hear you cry. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So
have a boy named him Little Johnny Hooker.
Oh, there you go. I name all my kids after Grand Funk Railroad songs. Call me eccentric, if you will.
Oh boy. Well, makes sense. You're naked when you come out, so
why not? Perfect tribute. Our family is a tribute to Grand Funk Railroad.
Call us the Flint family. Yeah, we're the Flintstones.
Yeah.
The Flint Foot Stompers.
The Flint Foot Stompers.
So then we got. Oh, I got to do mine. Oh my God, I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, I went with Politician. As the
Oh yeah.
title suggests, it's a song about lying politicians, which sadly still rings true today, regardless of what side you're on. It's one of those things. It's musically though, it's an upbeat, like another soulful rocker with a catchy chorus and great leads. And again, those Uriah Heep style keyboards are kind of in there as well, which I love. Just a fun song. It's actually kind of a fun sounding song given the dark subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys were great at making these soulful rock songs while still having like a hard rock heaviness to them. So I just don't think there's any other band like them.
No. George has an interesting comment there, Sydney. He said, I have had that album since it came out, but listened to it for the first time today. George, I think you set a record.
Did he like it though? I wonder.
Yeah, let's hear your thoughts. He does believe it is a strange album cover. That's probably what put him off Lo these many years.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that funny though? I mean, all the girls in the world, that album cover. Yeah. And then they do
Born to Die.
And then they do this. Yeah.
Born to Die.
Simple. Yeah.
Life on the road didn't shake out the way we had hoped. Born to Die.
You think that album cover's bad? Wait till I think the next one is actually worse than all the girls. It's just like I get your looks like they're about to all make out. Like I don't get that.
We like band unity, but not maybe at this level.
Hey, you got to give them credit. You got to give them credit though, guys. Look, they're wearing shirts.
Yes, although a couple of them are tank tops.
Scared me.
We'll give them partial credit.
Which is funny considering they don't really talk now. Well, they don't talk to Mark. But,
yeah, don't talk to Mark. What a shame. We could have a whole show on that travesty.
If they ever did a reunion, they got to refilm that picture. Redo it now. Let's reunite. Oh, that'll be the press picture when they reunite. Oh my God. Yeah, so this was actually Frank Zappa came on board with this, and they were on MCA. Yep. Frank Zappa produced it. So I don't know. Do you know the story on how that happened? How Zappa got hooked up with?
They were great admirers of Zappa, but they never figured he would acquiesce or agree to produce Grand Funk Railroad. And I don't know exactly through the grapevine how word got to Frank that they would like him to produce their newest album. And to their surprise, he was very receptive to it. Maybe the fact that Todd Rundgren took a shot at it and had interesting result. He said, let me see what shakes out with these boys and see what happens.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show how, you get a guy like Todd Rundgren, and then you got a guy like Frank Zappa to come in for this band.
Right? Like you're getting big name guys to produce your albums.
Yeah, these guys can't be what Rolling Stones said they were when you have two producers of that caliber agree to produce you. I mean, I don't care what you're paying them. They're not going to waste their time if this band is as bad as Rolling Stone made them out to be, which was
especially on one especially on one like this one where Frank plays a little bit. So
not only produces them, plays with the boys. How you like them apples, folks? Haters. How you like that?
So we got Just Couldn't Wait, Can You Do It, Pass It Around, Don't Let Him Take Your Gun, Miss My Baby, Big Buns, which I think is going to be DC's favorite.
You got it. You read my mind, baby.
Out to Get You, which is the Zappa song, but the song that Zappa appears on. Crossfire, 1976, Release Your Love, and Going for the Pastor. So I'm curious what DC.
I shall go with the tune after the aforementioned Big Bun song and go with the instrumental this go round with Out to Get You. Now you've got 5 of them seamlessly creating a tune, and you've got a guitarist of Zappa stature, and you've got Mark trading leads, and it works, folks. It's not like there's Zappa's going to play his lead, and then Mark, what's he going to? Oh, no, it works beautifully. It works beautifully, folks. Like I said, there are songs here I could pick, but that is such a unique track.
Yeah, so it's different.
Prior to this album, you would have never thought
No.
Frank Zappa and Grand Funk Railroad would collaborate on anything. I mean, it was a far enough stretch to have Rundgren with Grand Funk. You wouldn't think necessarily that would be perfect, synergetic coming together of two talents. But this works very well. This is a great album. I love just about every track on here, but I'm going to go with Out to Get You. It cooks. It really cooks.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Cool. Well,
Logan.
I don't got much more to say than what DC already said because that's what I went with too. I said it's like the big epic off the album. Some lead guitar courtesy of Frank Zappa. So it's a no-brainer for me to pick this because I really like Zappa. I'm a big especially the 70s period. And I love the instrumental beginning building up to the main section of the track. And I love how they sing the title of the song or the title of the album, Good Singing and Good Playing, which, pretty much sums up the song.
Yeah.
And I love Zappa's solo. And I didn't know, I listened to this last night. I could kind of tell where it switches between Mark, but then me and Sydney were talking before, and it's like the second solo, I think Sydney said.
If someone commented on YouTube, I don't know where they got the information.
The second solo, they let Frank take the first lead, and then Mark's got the second solo.
And then the third one is Zappa again at the end.
Yeah. It works. It works tremendously.
Would have been cool on that. Would have been cool on that last one if they just like played together or something,
Yeah.
But
whatever comes into your head, I'm going to play what comes into my head. Let's see what shakes out. Go.
Yeah. And I wanted to say too, it goes right in the Crossfire really well. It kind of just doesn't end. It just straight right into the next song. But yeah, it's just great, man. And these guys, this is exactly what I was talking about too. They just grew as players. I mean,
yeah, that's a great point, Logan. That it does segue so nicely to a song afterwards that's not even like the same kind of vibe, but
at all
eases right in perfectly.
Yep. Cool.
So I'm going with Big Buns. No, I'm kidding. If you don't know, Big Buns is just like this 30-second thing where they're all just singing and they're all singing, I want to grab you by those big buns so tight, so tight. I want to grab you.
Well, do you know who allegedly
that has to be Zappa that wrote that? Like, come on.
Well, do you know allegedly who Big Buns is?
I don't know.
At the time, I believe Mark Farner was dating the actress Sally Kellerman.
Okay, which Sally was the one that he wrote about on the
Sally,
Born to Die,
the previous album. So I think Sally Kellerman is also Big Buns. And here's a fun fact for you.
Why are they all singing it then? Oh my God. Jesus.
Let's not get into that.
No. He was like the sixth member of the group at that point. She was the source of inspiration.
And on Triangle, Big Buns.
Oh, yeah. No, so I think for the first time we have a three-peat. We got all three of us picked the same song here. I went with Out to Get You as well. I guess you could, it's an instrumental sort of. There are some lyrics, but really it's
basically.
For me, it's the highlight of the album. It's a great album, but it's a heavy song too. And Don is going nuts on the drums on this. And Zappa, like you guys said, joining in. It's chaotic, but like heavy guitar work. Yeah, Frank does the first and last solo. Mark does the middle one and all the rhythm guitar. And then
on an album that's got some really great material, that song, like you say, Sydney, it just jumps out at you, So.
Oh, yeah. And DC and Grant doing that Grand Funk show really kind of got me into these later albums because I really never did listen to them. So, that was a thank you.
We do what we can for the youngsters.
The song should have been called Hot Lips, not Big Buns.
Oh, Hot Lips.
I want to kiss you on your hot lips.
Kiss you on your hot lips. I don't know. Maybe you got to go big. I don't know.
Should have done them both.
Way too hard.
Done both. Second verse. Big Bun / Hot Lips.
Oh my God. That was the demo version. Oh my God.
The demo was Hot Lips.
Oh my God. The single and the B-side. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The B-side would have to be Big Buns. Get it? B-side? Yeah.
Oh. There you go. Where's my snare?
Yep.
Jesus. But yeah, like it's where am I here? What did I write down here? Yeah, we got it's like an instrumental song for the most part with like there's a few like screams in there and then we're out to get you thrown in there here and there. And there's the line that actually used the album title where they're saying something about good singing and good playing. So there's some vocals, but for the most part it's an instrumental with just some lines thrown in there. It's different than anything else they ever did, but that's obviously probably because of Zappa actually playing on it.
It's just sad that pretty much the general public kind of just waned them to the wayside by the time these two albums came out, because I think it's got some of their strongest material, some of them,
Agreed. Agreed, Logan. Especially, like I said, from All the Girls in the World Beware, there was a drop off. By the time you got to this album, it wasn't like when a new Grand Funk Railroad album hit the streets. Everybody and their brother was rushing out and getting it. By now, so many of those that were diehards had just given up on the band. Not this cat, but many did. So,
and a lot of people would have had that Locomotion band, that old Locomotion band. People would have just like brushed them off.
They've gone pushy.
Even though it was like 3 years prior, it's not even that long ago.
I know. It's crazy world to navigate.
Yeah, great song. Yeah, we all picked that. So I think that's the first one that we all picked the same one. So yeah, great song. And then we move on to two left. Grand Funk Lives, which is kind of a weird album cover and dark.
Yeah, it's like graffiti type.
But it looks like they're in an attic or something because there's like floorboards. I don't know.
Now they're young hooligans running the streets with their spray paint.
What's this about?
Look at them.
I don't know.
You stinkers.
Strange, very strange. Yeah, this was their first step into the 80s. Yeah, and do you know why there was like a long break? Like why was there 76 and 81? Because they were pretty consistent. Do you know the story on why there was?
They were gonna break up. They were gonna call it quits with Born to Die, and then somehow they were coerced to get back together and do the album with Zappa.
Right.
But really that was it. They weren't gaining any traction. What did they release? Can You Do It from this album was released as a single and it stiffed. And I remember one of my friends' girlfriends laughing at my ass at that song that I like Grand Funk Railroad. I said, how dare you? First step, you gotta move to the left. Second step. She go, yeah, you big puss. Anyway, they decided to step away.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the how it came about. They decided to get together and do this and regroup. Mel didn't want to join. He was busy working on classic cars and everything. So they got Dennis Bellinger, who had been their bass tech for many years, to come in on bass. They don't really miss a beat. Of course,
Craig's gone too, right?
Craig's gone, and I don't know what went on there, whether he was even asked or what the deal was. I saw this incarnation of Grand Funk when they regrouped, and it was really funny because they opened up the show with foot stomping music, and they get to the part. Mark leaves the keys, comes up to the mic, goes, "Does everybody want to?" Nothing. Guitar. There's no sound coming out of his guitar. He's looking back and forth. I see these roadies running around backstage. Meanwhile, Don and Dennis, and they were doing that for like about a minute and a half, and finally they just stopped and then got things squared away and then started the show all over again. Funny.
It's hilarious. It's cool you got to see them though, like way back then when they were.
Yeah, they didn't have Mel, but Mark was there, Don was there, so
yeah.
So we got Good Times, Queen Bee, which was actually in the soundtrack for the movie Heavy Metal, and then we got Testify, Can't Be With You Tonight, No Reason Why, We Gotta Get Out of This Place, which is also a cover of The Animals again, and You with dots in between, YOU, Stuck in the Middle, Greed of Man and Wait for Me. So I'm curious what you're going to pick.
Well, I do like quite a bit of the songs on this album. Oddly enough, I wasn't a big fan of Queen Bee. When I heard they were going to have a song on the heavy metal soundtrack, I don't know where my head was. I wasn't thinking that approach or that kind of song. So that song's never really resonated with me. My top 3 from the album were YOU and the closer Wait for Me, which it's not a hard rock. It's just I like that tune, but I picked No Reason Why, which rocks pretty hard and is cantankerous, and I like it quite a little bit. So that is my pick. Hey, this album was purchased in Columbus, Ohio at Buzzard's Nest Records for a whopping $6.59 on sale.
Nice. That's the Return is a hard rock album for sure. Like,
oh yeah,
different sounding than their other stuff, but it's still sort of Grand Funk. Like, it's a rockin' album. So Logan, what's your pick?
I went with Greed of Man. That was my pick. Kicks off with that riff that it reminds me of something like Robin Trower kind of would have done around this time. Kind of has that little feel to it. I love Mark's vocals on this song. Has a great chorus line. It's got some nice backing vocals that accompany Mark throughout the main track. And I love Don's drum fills throughout the song too. Kind of what he didn't, because he doesn't sing anything on this album, right? So he doesn't have any lead vocals or nothing.
No,
I believe it are all Mark sung tunes.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, so he kind of makes up for it in his drum performance on some of these tunes. Because like Sydney was saying, this is kind of like it's not metal, but it's probably one of their harder rock albums. It's close. Yeah. It's Virgin.
It's 81, right?
So maybe they're trying to fit in a little bit better. That was my pick, Greed of Man.
Yeah, that's my pick as well. I was like getting back to and even like the lyrics are like a throwback to like his lyrics of like humans being greedy, which he's excellent at writing about. And he got the cat. Oh my God.
Dementia Cat always makes an appearance every show.
Still alive and kicking, huh? Wow.
It's astounding. We thought he was a goner a year ago, and actually he's getting better. He's putting on weight. He's still as squirrely as the day is long, but I mean, his appearances, he's putting on weight, getting better on that front. But if his squirreliness might do him in before his other physical issues. But we are astounded because we were preparing the grandkids for his demise and everything.
It was like 2 years ago.
Months ago. Yeah, I'm embarrassed now.
2 years ago, you're like,
sad news, all you Grant's Rock Warehouse fans. The kitty you see on the show is going to die in a day or two. No, here he is. 3 years later, he'll probably outlive me being on these shows. And sitting in for DC is Dementia Cat.
DC's just looking for sympathy.
That's me.
Hoping a lovely lady out there will give him a hug.
Somebody, won't you please?
But yeah, the music goes along with this. The rocks, the verse and chorus are really catchy, and yet it still rocks really hard. It's an ear candy song that sticks in your head with a great melody and a great solo in the middle. It's just good, straightforward hard rock song. And I think Grant played it on one of the episodes where you and him were doing a Grand Funk episode, and I think that was one of the songs he actually played.
You guys played No Reason Why too, right?
No Reason
Why. I would have picked that one for sure if my memory serves right.
So yeah,
cool.
We wrap it up to our final album here now with another interesting album cover with What's Funk. DC got it all. You can show the whole thing at some point.
Well, no, that was the other half of the face.
She's got jumper cables and a fully erected monument in the background.
Yeah, what talk about trying to send cryptic messages. Anywho,
was that Sally?
I don't think that is Sally Kellerman. I wish I knew what the rest of her head looked like.
Oh my God.
I'll leave it to my personal fantasies.
Oh my God. Pretend it's Sally. Oh.
Yeah, Sally Kellerman. Now this song here, this album here for me was very much a drop off.
Yeah.
Like Grand Funk Lives had lots of good tunes. This one here, man, I'm hard pressed. There's maybe 3 songs here I would say I really like, and I'll just cut to the chase. My favorite here is El Salvador. It's just
that's
I
a
like
great
that
song.
rock riffage and the way the
Yeah.
song all comes together. But
That's a good song.
really, this album, aside from the cover, doesn't do much for me.
That's why I kind of wish. I wish they would have ended the album before. Kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, go off on a higher note for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, there you go again. So me and DC are going to El Salvador.
There you go.
Pretty much everything you said. It's got that great chugging riff and the drums and the bass kick in. Really sets the track up really well. I also like the riff that's in the chorus section. It reminded me of 2 things. I wrote down 10 Years After's big hit, I Don't Want to Change the World. Kind of has that feeling to it. And a little bit of the Stones' of Satisfaction. Kind of got the same kind of lines to it. But yeah. Love Mark's solo. And I even said there's some wonky sounding keyboards on this song, but I can live with it. I can live with it because the rest of the song's pretty good. Some of the songs on this album, man. Yeah.
That's true, Logan. It just, some of the trappings of the early 80s really creeped into this album with the keys. It's like, me no likey.
And Lives isn't like that at all, I mean, the album before.
It's weird, completely different albums.
I think they were just throwing darts, seeing if anything would hit. What if we have like kind of electric beats with a little bit of a funky keyboard, that 80s bullshit keyboard sound.
And I don't think the covers on this album were nearly as better, as the ones earlier in their career.
Not inspired.
Yeah, they
covering Nowhere to Run and
it's like
pop, but like funky pop, but it just doesn't work. The songs aren't really memorable. It's just kind of like throw at it.
Could have been a good EP, probably.
I thought I liked it better, and then I heard it again, and I'm like, okay, yeah, a lot of these songs are kind of
trust your first instincts.
But I went with, actually, I think these are the 2 songs again. He played songs off of that, and this was one of those ones, and that stuck out to me. Was I almost went El Salvador, but I went with Still Waiting, which to me is the other good song. I think those are the 2 really good songs. Everything else is just kind of like, okay. Yeah, 2 songs that kind of rock, and then the rest is kind of like, I don't know.
That's a good Brewer vocal, though. The only time he sings, right? On that one?
I think he's only got 1 or 2 vocals on this album. So he pretty much stepped away from doing any vocalization with these last 2 albums.
I like that last track kind of good too. Just get how wonky it is. Was it like
Lost the outer space thing?
Yeah.
But for me, it's just a fun boogie rocker, sung by Don. His voice just nails this kind of music too. Chorus is fun and catchy. It does kind of sound like it could have been used almost in like the credits of an 80s movie. I don't mean that in a bad way, but it has that feeling to it. Just that whole chorus.
It does have aspects of that time period, big time.
Just has that. Maybe that's what they were going for. Let's have our songs used in movies. Let's make that kind of stuff. But at least this song in El Salvador are memorable. Some of the other stuff is just like,
it was like I were aiming for. Yeah, Sydney, when I first listened to this, of course, you're always hoping for the best. And like I said, Grand Funk Lives had some solid material.
Good stuff on there. Yeah.
Youngish DC gets this album home, puts it on the turntable, and it was like, I was a little bit crushed. It's like, oh my.
It's bad, that a band like this, man, this is gonna be it.
I knew right then there is no coming back from this. The band itself was not gonna turn around. It was tobogganing downhill. And when I could only find 2, possibly 3 songs on a Grand Funker album that I like, does not bode well.
There's an issue there because DC loves them.
Yeah, when someone is a diehard like me that stuck with them through thick and thin, says, fellas, I think we're done.
And I think with an album like this actually, it's funny with these albums that aren't very good. I think that actually makes it easier to pick the best song in some ways because you're like,
oh yeah,
one or two good, so easy, done.
My notes on this album: El Salvador. That's all I had to write for my notes.
Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious.
Sorry, folks.
Yeah, I think the solo and Still Waiting's good, and it's just a fun, catchy kind of pop rock song. But still, there's guitar. There's enough guitar there. It's still a good, fun rock song, and Don's got a good voice, so it's a good. And yeah, El Salvador was the other one that I really liked. To me, those are the two strong rock songs. Everything else is kind of like, take it or leave it. But it's a shame because it's like I said, it's one of your favorite bands, and yet here's a album where you like one or two songs.
Yeah, it just goes to show you all good things come to an end, and there's so much of a treasure trove in their catalog that I can go back and relive the glory days, and they should be very. Hey, Dementia Cat's attacking me. There's a lot they could be proud of with their catalog, and there is so much that I enjoy that it's all good. It's just, I think, that's life.
I think George said it in the comments a little while ago, like they have just as many good deep cuts as they do hits, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I mean, just if you think you just know this band from the singles, you're missing out on a hell of a lot of good music.
Yeah. And there's so many bands that are like that, right? So many bands where it's just oh, I know that band, but I don't really like that song. It's like, well, yeah, that's a hit, but they have more songs than that. Just because you don't like that song doesn't mean there's not something you're not gonna like.
Agreed.
Like I picked The Locomotion, but I guarantee you there'd probably be lots of people that would just be put off by Grand Funk because of that song.
Yeah,
or some kind of wonderful songs like that. People would be like, "Oh, it's a pop. I don't want to listen to them." It's just...
Hearing Bad Time or something on the radio, they're like,
There are just so many bands and so much music over course of a lifetime. There is no way you could expose yourself to all of it. The trick is to find people whose taste you kind of line up with.
Yeah.
And if they suggest something, pretty good chance you're going to like it. And in my case, I always tell people that tune into these shows, if you hate my taste in music, use that and say, well, if he likes it, there ain't no way I'm going to waste my time listening to anything from that artist.
You talking about Marlon Hill, DC? I know who you're talking about.
Marlon. Oh, I think that's one of the reasons why he don't tune in anymore. He hates my taste in music.
That's funny. You got white. I don't know. You got white taste in music though. Like
I do, and if anybody would look at my choices, they'd see that there's a lot of stuff that I like that you would like. It's just my parameters are all over the place.
Yeah.
Because I like soul, I like funk. I like some disco stuff. I like ballads. I'm not put off by the softer side of the musical spectrum. I'm good. So, but not everybody goes that way.
Yeah. Different ears. Cool. That's just how it works, right? So
it's all for your enjoyment. It's like what is pleasurable to you, indulge. I'm not going to eat clams on the shell, but if you like that, I invite you to have at it, but don't offer it to me. We're all different.
That's a great note to end this on.
I enjoy doing the Locomotion. Yeah, we're all going to line up and do the Locomotion 10.
Stay tuned for the end of the show because we have a pre-recorded dance routine between the three of us doing the Locomotion.
DC's going to get his spandex and dress like Mark Farner did in the 70s.
That's right.
Tight pants on. Oh boy. So it was a fun one. This is great to have all these people here, and I like DC for being here. And
thank you everybody for tuning in, and guys, thank you for having me on. I always enjoy when we have conversation. It goes flowingly, and we have a lot of laughs, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Because not everybody's like us.
No,
not everybody loves music like us. And like the folks that are tuning in, we're a different breed. So,
are you gonna join us for Left End next Saturday?
Yes, I am. And do you know about Left End's EP?
Yeah, so
I did record an EP.
So it's everything. It's 19 songs total. I'm doing the singles, the Yeah, I did my research. I did.
Attaboy. See,
the
folks,
the
this
singles.
is why it's worth your while to tune in here.
I'm gonna be playing
Not
all their
half-assing
songs.
it.
The singles, the singles, the full length, the EP, and then there's 2 other singles that came out after the EP apparently later on. So
yeah, I'm all here. That was my Ute.
you're
That
and you're
band
from
was
Youngstown, right? That's where you're from, right? So
oh yeah, Youngstown, Ohio. Yeah, they
yeah,
humongous.
yeah. So we'll be 3 o'clock, same time next week. Is that good? That work for you, or?
Is this a 3 o'clock next Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it works. Same time as today's show, basically. Yeah, same time next week.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be there. I'll
All
get
right.
my lawnmower chores done, and I'll be ready to engage.
Listen to some tunes. Yeah, well, I think we'll probably just play like maybe a couple of songs at a time, then maybe just talk about them. For the most part, it's just a music hangout, right? So just chill. You don't have to do any research or anything or any of that. So
Okay, cool. Yeah,
it's a fun.
I'm there, guys.
All right, perfect. So what do
Cool.
you got going on for cartoon wise?
Oh, well, I'm very much a semi-retired
Semi-retired,
individual. So I've got a couple assignments that I do every month for Scouts Life, which used to be Boys Life until they let girls in the Scouts. So now the magazine's called Scout Life. I do a comic strip and I do a cartoon illustration that
Nice.
runs on the top of the joke page every month. And then whatever else files in. I mean, sometimes I'll do a job for highlights or whatever else comes in. But really, as much as I loved what I was doing for a career, I don't take any great joy in sitting down and drawing anymore.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
I've
If you don't
just
enjoy it
drawn
anymore,
so
that's
much
when you
my
already
whole life.
stop, right?
What's that?
It's like one of those things, right? If you're not enjoying it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I've just drawn so much my whole life, and it's what I wanted to do since I was like 4 years old, that now I'd rather talk about music. I'd rather do a whole lot of other things. But
Yeah.
I still need to keep up my chops a little bit. So I do have a few assignments I do every month. But man, I'm not hitting it as hard
Okay.
as I did when I was doing this for full-time living, which normally meant 60 plus hours a week of work under tight deadlines and
Yeah.
dealing with crazy inner fighting between 2 art directors at an ad agency. Well, I think the shirt should be green. F you, blue. No one likes a big bear in a green shirt.
Is that a
It's
real
just so
fight? Oh my God.
stupid. And then I got to pay the price for it
Oh my
while
God.
they argue it out. Little
Over the
power
Clover shirt.
battles. Yeah, you would be astounded at the
It was
stupid
Mark
stuff.
Farner that was running things. He would say, "I got an idea. No shirt.
No shirt on the bear.
Call it even. No shirt.
That's
That
right,
way
no
you stop
shirt.
arguing."
I don't give a crap if Yogi Bear wore a tie or not. No shirt on the bear.
It's a bear. Why is he wearing a shirt? Ugh.
Cartoon world.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, it's hilarious. Oh, that's funny. So yeah, we'll be back next week with Left End. We'll do a music hangout with DC.
Yeah,
Tomorrow
folks.
we're having a music hangout. We're playing a New York band called Wiggy Bits.
Wiggy
Yeah.
bits.
I don't know what that is.
Wiggy bit.
Kind of disease. I don't know. Wiggy Bits.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but you come down with a chronic case of wiggy bitch. Oh, dear God.
Great 70s like hard rock band from New York. It's great stuff. So we're gonna be playing that album.
She's
Come
an
on, album,
impure woman. She has the wiggy bitch.
Oh,
That's what happens when you're a highfalutin woman in your younger years. That's what happens.
yeah. Oh my God. Oh. Yeah, before that, so yeah, so tomorrow we'll be starting though. Before we do the Wiggy Bits album, we'll be doing another music hangout, just 10 songs. I went and picked 10 bands that share the same name with famous bands. So for example, there's and they're actually all older. So there's a band called Nirvana from like the 60s. There's a
Oh,
band
yeah, I've
called
heard of them.
old
Yeah.
band called Creed. There's like these old bands that have the same name as more famous bands. So we're gonna be playing a song from each of those.
That's an inspired approach for a listening party.
Interesting. And be like, look, we're playing Creed and Nirvana. People tune in thinking we're playing alternative music, and we're like,
all your favorites, folks.
Grunge.
What? I
don't remember this Creed song. Yeah. Oh my God. So yeah, that'll be fun. It's an interesting concept.
Yeah, that's a different concept. Good job.
I'll rattle off some more. There's actually an old Iron Maiden who are also from England. Had an album in '69, so it's kind of surprising that there's these other bands that had that name earlier. So it's thought it was a fun idea for a music hangout.
Yeah, that's a great idea. No one's tapped into that.
I know the Left End was going to be tomorrow, but I'm like, well, you're not going to be able to do 2 shows. You're not going to be able to do tomorrow. So
I'll be still in recovery.
Still in recovery. So I figured, you know what, I'll come up with something else.
The audience can only take so much of my surliness. Give it a break with that freakish old man. The hell.
So yeah, thanks everyone who was here, and thanks DC for joining, and looking forward
thank
to
you guys
again next week. So
yeah, anytime. I'm always happy to come aboard, provided my schedule is open. Always enjoy talking music with you guys, and it does my heart good to see younger fellas appreciate the music of my ute. My ute.
So yeah, thanks DC for joining, and Logan is always here, and yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and tune in tomorrow for our music hangout, and next week you get to see this wonderful man again.
It'll be exciting. Music from Youngstown.
Yes.
Without the gangster bullets in the background, the mafia bullets in the background. You'll get pure music, folks.
So yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow. So thanks everyone, and yeah, see you tomorrow.
See you, folks.